Continuing on with our Chapter 3 super session here, we've got the principles of visual design. So this is on page 74 for those of you following along. One thing to always remember about website design is that most of the design nomenclature, so the actual rules that govern what makes a web page look good versus, not so good, most of that language actually comes from print media. So whether or not that is newspapers, maybe okay. Magazines, even better. If you think about things like multimedia even, so things like, interactive advertisements you see, if you want to go way back, think about things like DVD special features, things of that nature. Web design has really aimed to take the best parts of all of those. It is aimed to take the striking visual design elements. It is aimed to take the ease of navigation. It is aimed to take the interactivity and really stitch all of those together into an experience for you all. So those design nomenclatures that you find yourself drawn to, so really start to pay attention to these things. When you are reading a magazine, if you still read magazines, think about the pieces that strike you there, that capture you and keep you there. Even if you are reading other web pages, think about the pieces that strike you and keep you there. And those are things you're going to want to start weaving into your own web page design. So as we continue down, the repetition element here is certainly noteworthy. Now, repetition, as we saw, or as we talk about it here, is really on two different fronts. The first of those is that between your web pages, so as I go from home to portfolio to contact me to whatever, as I go on rockvalleycollege.edu from home to academics to programs to web programming, what we should see is a consistent, repeatable design language there, so that there's no real surprise as I go from one page to another that, oh my goodness, there's been this huge jarring change that, the colors have changed, the design nomenclature has changed, the navigation has changed. That's really bad design. You want to create a sense of normalcy from one page to another to another. And really that repetition, I would suggest, starts not on your page, but out in the greater, wider world of web design. So I understand that, I have told you and you have heard, and these things are true maybe to a certain extent, that when you are designing web pages, you are designing these pages to be your own beautiful, unique snowflake. Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, to a certain extent. But here's the problem. When you all just are looking at snowflakes, right? Do they look any different to you until you really get really close? No, they don't look that different. You want in a snowflake to look like every other snowflake that you have seen. Because when you see a yellow snowflake and you are expecting a white snowflake, you ain't touching that snowflake. When you are expecting a yellow or a white, standard snowflake, and this particular snowflake floats up instead of floating down, you are staying away from that particular snowflake. Web design kind of goes the same way. We are looking for consistency in design from every web page that you've ever seen that will help govern how yours functions. Now, the look and feel of that, maybe you've got, and you do certainly have, leeway to change, but only so much of. You really want to be consistent. You want to conform to what the unknown potential future client is looking for, because that comfort is going to help them choose to stay with your web property. So right here on page 74, repeat elements of your visual design from one page to another page to another page inside of your property, but also from one web property to another, so that you are not this weird, odd duckling that looks so very different from everything else that people are used to.